lot going on here in the U.S. Absolute pandemonium all over the U.S. from President Musk's actions around the U.S. and Donald Trump's stupidity for letting him do this. But we'll get to politics, but let's do some environmental news first, and then we're going to let it fly. And there's a lot of people pissed at what's going on. All right, the world's glaciers are melting faster than ever recorded. This is according to the most comprehensive scientific analyst to date. If all the mountain glaciers were to melt, it would raise sea levels to above 13 inches or 32 centimeters. But then again, we have to remember that President Musk and President Trump don't believe in science anymore. So they don't care about this kind of information and have just ignored it. Where if you live by the water, you better pay attention to it because the sea levels are rising fast. So on another topic, the Orange Felon has ordered the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to act swiftly on oil projects that would damage wetlands in Louisiana. This would affect 234 acres of wetlands would be destroyed or wrecked by these oil projects. Pipelines, pumping, and cutting down, making roads in the swamps, that sort of thing, in the wetlands of Louisiana. So that's the first bad news. He also plans on doing many oil projects up in Alaska and offshore, putting in roads in Alaska in the wilderness area because he doesn't pay attention to laws or what the people want. He thinks because they voted him in, which is questionable, that it's okay to do whatever type of damage he wishes to do in any of our national parks or reservations or set-aside areas in the U.S. and offshore. But that's not all. Let's get into some politics, and let's get into it really good. Let's start out with President Musk. So, President Musk has a company called Neuralinks, and what he wants to do is make it mandatory that every U.S. citizen gets a chip put in their brain from this Neuralink company that he brings, and then will be completely linked up with the internet, and so that Musk and Trump can check and see what we're thinking and doing. And if you don't believe me, just look up Neuralinks and see what he's up to. It's just stunning what they plan on doing. He says that this will bring crime down to almost nothing because you can't do crime without them finding out about it. Do you want your personal brain thoughts looked at by the government, especially President Musk and the Orange Felon Trump? Do you really want them to hold your records, your Social Security records, your medical information, and your financial situation? Do you really want them to know all this stuff? But yet it's going on and people are getting pissed. So there's many watchdog groups out there putting the alarm out for Neuralink by Musk. His company really wants the business, and we don't want it. I refuse to get chipped up by Musk, our brains chipped, and that's what they're calling it, is our brains are going to be chipped. Do you want that to happen? All right, let's go into what's happening with me personally, is VA care. As you know, I just got surgery and I need the VA care because I'm going through physical therapy to get it so my arm will work right. You know, I can get it up higher than this. It needs many, many weeks or months of work. And I just began my therapy about 2 weeks ago. And now Musk and Trump have laid off 1,000 VA workers last month. Now they just laid off Monday, the 24th, which was today. I'm doing this video, and they've just laid off another 1,400 workers. And you know what these idiots are actually saying? They're saying, oh, this will help the VA, make it run much better. How is taking away 2,400 workers from an outfit that has had a deficit of workers? We have never had enough workers working at the VA, and any veteran will tell you that we're in such hurt because we have not had the ability to have the proper doctors and nurses and healthcare specialists to help us. We're on the bare bones. In fact, they just axed mental health, suicide prevention. They took it away from VA. They said, we don't need it. You don't need suicide prevention at the VA? Are you kidding me? Really? Oh, this is so sad. People are pissed. If you look at Rachel Maddow's show, just put in your search engine, Rachel Maddow, and the date that you're at now, you'll get the latest video, and she's showing the pissed off people at these town halls where all these Congress people are going, and it's good to see. People are fired up and saying forget it. Loads of protests all around the country are happening. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to just sit back and let it happen when they take away your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, and the VA care? I mean, what the H? FAA is being slaughtered, and over 8 different plane crashes have now happened just since Trump took office, and that hasn't happened for 9 years. What the hell are we doing? Just sitting back and twiddling our thumbs? Well, here's some more people that are pissed off with what's going on. I'm going to let everybody just have at the channel and put in their 2 words of what they're pissed off about. Their different pet peeves that are being axed and taken over by the orange felon and rapist and President Musk, the one who isn't even a citizen of the U.S., who now is the president, who is appointed there by the orange felon in chief. Unbelievable. But take it away, people. Go ahead and just have at it.
Sorry, you can't use those.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning birth control.
This is our decision, not yours. Get out of our bedroom.
I won the last election. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just gonna watch and make sure you don't do anything illegal.
Imagine a major performing arts center run by a convicted felon and sexual predator. That sounds insane and impossible, doesn't it? And he's said to grab him by the pussy. Remember that? The convicted felon and sexual predator, who is one of the current White House residents, along with unelected President Musk, says he's never been to a performance at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts because there was nothing there he wanted to see. That speaks a lot about him because they present quite a variety of programming there. Yet this piece of trash had decided that he's going to take over the center because somehow he's allegedly gotten, quote, reports, close quote, from whom? And keep in mind the guy is a chronic liar, about the bad programming there. That must make all of the superb and renowned artists having performed there feel really good reading that. But the intelligent person knows not to rely solely on hearsay and so-called reports from one's cultist, but rather go and see for oneself what's allegedly wrong with the programming by attending a variety of performances before making an objective judgment or conclusion. In recent weeks, the renowned Alvin Ailey American Dance Company have been performing there. They're excellent. I've seen them several times. The Kennedy Center's programming has always been of the highest standards and quality. That is what is expected of major performance arts centers in major cities. The Kennedy Center features local, national, and international artists and ensembles. The National Symphony Orchestra is the resident orchestra in the concert hall and has been since the center opened in 1971. And the Washington National Opera is the resident opera company in the Opera House. After the convicted felon announced that he was becoming the self-appointed chair of the center, he said something that, at least to me, implied that only artists from the U.S. would perform there in the future, under his and President Musk's regime, because he said he wants the Kennedy Center to be about, quote, the golden age of American culture, close quote, whatever that means, or some such rubbish. My reading of that is that he wants the U.S. to return to the days of the 1930s and 40s, which indeed is his demented and insane mindset. So that would imply that international artists and ensembles are no longer going to be booked there. If that's his plan, the Kennedy Center will lose a lot of money taking that approach because there are only so many artists and ensembles in the U.S. of the caliber and quality that one expects to be booked for the Kennedy Center. But I suspect that is all going to change considering who is running things. A nut who has no clue what he's doing. And as chair, how will he know where and how to find out where each individual artist is from, and that they're not from the U.S. so he can exclude them? He might put unelected President Musk on that job, although with neither of them knowing anything about music or the arts, they would welcome anyone from the U.S., even the most amateur, because they have no trained ear or knowledge of music or the arts. That's part of the reason that both the National Symphony Orchestra and the Washington National Opera had an advisor, both of whom resigned after the convicted felon and sexual predator announced he was going to run the Kennedy Center. So what started all this, if you don't already know? Well, the convicted felon is obsessed with, quote, woke, like much of the far right, and because he's a Nazi, just like President Musk and his fascist-throwing Sieg Heil salute, they can't stand diversity, equity, or inclusion. So someone must have told him about some drag show that was held at the Kennedy Center on one occasion, and therefore the convicted felon seems to think that the drag art form is all they do there. And knowing nothing about the performing arts, music, dance, or the theater, the self-appointed authority on all matters decided that the drag show must stop, and the only way to stop it is for him to become the chair of the Kennedy Center and fire all of the bipartisan Board of Trustees, which he did. For those who don't know, the Kennedy Center is located on the banks of the Potomac River in the District of Columbia, the U.S. nation's capital city. The National Symphony Orchestra, now accountable to the convicted felon and rapist, has made no statements about relocating and vacating their home, the concert hall, and relocating to another venue in the district. And there's been no statement from the Washington National Opera either. Are they both going to remain there and be responsible to the authoritarian? Meanwhile, many artists have already canceled their performances, including one that was already completely sold out. I read that the popular Gay Pride concert with the National Symphony Orchestra has been canceled. As I recall, the insane convicted felon canceled that, calling it woke. And he says that woke must stop. This is a first in another way. Since it opened, the Kennedy Center has always had a bipartisan Board of Trustees and has worked in a bipartisan manner with the White House. That has all changed. The convicted felon fired all of the board, as I said earlier. The new board consists of his cultists. They are J.D. Vance's wife. By the way, he's a piece of work, isn't he? He's as much a bully as the convicted felon. Others on the Board of Trustees include the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, and her mother, a White House Deputy Chief of Staff for National Security, the White House Director of Presidential Personnel, and the wife of the Commerce Secretary, the former White House advisor to the First Lady, donor Patricia Dugan, another donor to the convicted felon, you don't need to know his name. Then there's these two wives, the wife of the New England Patriots CEO and the wife of the New York Yankees president. Their wives are also on the board. Have any of the above people that I named ever studied a musical instrument? Have any of them ever studied dance, opera, or the theater? Have any of them ever been to a performance at the Kennedy Center? In addition to many artists having already canceled their performances, the Kennedy Center has lost many longtime donors as a result of his authoritarian actions. The convicted felon did not attend the Kennedy Center's honor program in 2017, and some award recipients that year threatened a boycott of the award ceremony because of him. Because he's all about himself and renaming things, and I have no doubt that this piece of trash intends to rename the Kennedy Center, and the following is difficult for me to say, but I have no doubt that he will rename the center the Donald J. Trump Center for the Performing Arts. He has said he is above any laws. There is no one to stop him from renaming the center. I've heard some people say, referring to the convicted felon, sexual predator, and unelected President Musk, that what is happening now can all be corrected at the midterm elections and in the general election. Dreamers? Why would anyone think there will be midterms or a general election with these Nazi trash? This guy has called himself a king. So all it takes is yet another executive order to cancel any and all future elections. The Kennedy Center was wonderful as long as we had it. I would think that in the future it will be used for his Nazi cult rallies and the most ordinary of performances, only with people, performers from the U.S., perhaps, if I interpreted what he said correctly. Since again, these people know nothing about music or the performing arts, and they have no musically trained ear for determining the highest standards of performance, as opposed to the most ordinary and amateurish of performances. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate any of the ups and especially the comments on the channel. Let it fly, let these people know that we're not going to take it anymore. Unbelievable what's happening. And until next time.
Ash?